Okay. All right, let's go. Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to Facebook Live, your weekly thing for all things MOUG. So this week, we have a special guest who's joining us, Chris Petracco. He is Mr. Google Street View. He has a lot of experience under his belt, and we are definitely looking forward to all your questions and hopefully some really great information from Chris. So this is your opportunity to pick his brain and ask him whatever you would like. Take it away.
Do we have any questions?
Let's see. Hey, Teddy. Hi, Lisa.
And just to let you all know, I'm sitting in an Airbnb Select here doing some photography. Never stopping. No Matterport today.
Aw. I hope you guys are all ready for Thanksgiving and are looking forward to having a few days off. Please remember as well that Matterport will be closed on Thursday and Friday. The London office, however, will be open. So if you call them during their working hours, somebody will help you out. Next week, we will hold Facebook Live again the same time, 9 o'clock Tuesday morning. And then after that, I think we're going to switch it up and we're going to run it at 2 o'clock Pacific time, which will hopefully be in the morning for those people in Australia, so they can join us as well. But I'll make a more announcement on that next week. Do we have any questions for Mr. Petracco?
Question is, when you're saying your first GSV, are you shooting with your Matterport? So you would have your Matterport shoot first, processed and published, and then exported through the workshop to Google Street View. Once it's published to Google Street View, you'll want to go to the business listing. And there are steps during the publishing, and I wanted to do a screen share with this, but Facebook Live via iOS is not set up for that. We have to use the television station switching equipment, which we can do another time, Dee.
Okay.
That way you can show the screens. But anyway, I mean, I'm sort of consolidating the steps here. Publishing through Matterport to Google Street View. Once it's in Google Street View, you would look it up, usually give yourself 24 hours, and the connections will all be made, the constellation will be built and published to the business listing that you have. Then you have to make a decision. Do you want to have a nice, clean, neat constellation, or do you want to leave it as currently Matterport is pushing it? Every connection under the sun. And Google no longer offers training in Street View, which they did for many years when they had it as sort of a select program. But essentially, they want a nice, clean walkthrough when you use Google Street View, which means you're not walking through closed doors, you're not walking through furniture, you're not walking through half walls. And with Matterport Publishing, you're going to have all those connections doing that. So the next step is really to use a third-party application. The one of choice by most professionals is gothrough.co. They have both. You can try it with one or two, I believe, freebies. They have a monthly hosting program. We do a volume, so we need the monthly hosting program. You can also do it per individual publish. And what GoThrough allows you to do is to edit your constellation. It then allows you to republish it. So what you publish from Matterport is going to look a little bit different after you republish it, but all the same photospheres will be in the same location. You're also able to add a
Uh-oh, did we lose him? We lost him. Sorry guys, looks like we just lost Chris. We're gonna try and get him back on here. Please bear with us. Chris, what happened to you? Alrighty, well, have any other questions? Oh, I think he's back. Is he back? Ravi says, I did a large model a few weeks back and I can view it online, but I'm not able to download it locally on my iPhone, iPad. What do you think the issue could be? It depends on how big the model is. Typically, when you upload a Matterport space on a mobile device, it won't load with the high-res panos, so I would assume it should probably work. It might just be too large to render on the device that you're trying to render it on. Have you tried several different devices? And if it's still not working, contact support and we'll work one-on-one with you looking at the device that you have. We can also test it out to see if it works on any of our devices that we have in-house. Do you publish from a personal Google account or some type of Google business account? So you can publish with any account. It's up to you. The account that you publish from will be attributed. So when you go to the actual panos, you'll see on the upper left-hand corner the name of the entity that uploaded to Google Street View. So oftentimes the actual photographers add their names, but you can log in as your customer as well or add them as a collaborator and have them log in and upload as well, so it'll be attributed to them. So it's just a matter of preference. Is an Airbnb a private residence or a commercial property as far as GSV is concerned? So you cannot upload private residences to Google Street View because that's against Google's policies. However, if you have an overnight rental, which I assume Airbnb would be, that Google would allow you to upload that to Google Street View. But if you're ever in doubt, you should contact Google Street View and check with them because ultimately it's their rules and they get to say one way or the other. Do we have Chris back yet? Still not? Also, some tours you can go straight into the premises from Street View and others you can't. That is correct. So the ability to go straight from Street View from inside a street into a building with the panos that are inside buildings is a connection that is made by Google. It's not something that Matterport can control. There doesn't seem to be any logic behind that. So I've seen cases where an inside pano is pretty much right on the street and there's no connection. I've also seen cases where the panos are pretty far off and there is a connection. So again, that's something that Google controls and not something that that Matterport has control over. I think we have Chris back. Yay! Welcome back.
Welcome back. So, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Holding the phone horizontally is really weird.
All right. Where were we?
We were talking about methodology, but I heard a little bit some bad advice you were giving and sort of things to add to what you were saying in the last few questions. I really can't get my... Go ahead. I can't get some... Take it away. So Airbnbs, to have a business, you're never going to find your Google Street View unless you have a business listing. So you need to have a business listing, and Airbnbs do not qualify for listings. You need to have somebody, the business there open 24, I'm sorry, you need somebody there to let people in. So a bed and breakfast would qualify because they have the owners on site or the manager. You don't have somebody like that. You can't come up to an Airbnb and come in and shop. So those are some of the reasons that Airbnbs do not qualify for Google My Business. And if you don't have a Google My Business listing, if you put something on Google Street View, no one's ever going to see it.
Good to know.
Good to know. The second thing to say is nobody looks at Google Street View from the street. Nobody. This is with 7 years of experience. It's not how Google Street View is used. Street View is used to look at the Google listing, business listing, the knowledge graph that's in Maps and Search, and then say, hey, there's content to look at. It could be a virtual tour, it could be video now, it could be a video of photos, right? And then you already know the place, so that's why you're going to click on the photo bucket to go into the photos and look at the photos. Unless you're that person that's sitting at home in their closet with their internet in total darkness and going down the street and maybe casing it for something, you're not, nobody out there who uses Google Street View uses it that way. So every time I see that question, just get that out of your minds. Don't think about connecting to the street. It's not used that way, will never be used that way. That's not how the interwebs are used with concerning street. Now, you do want to show the outside. So let's say you own 3 stores on Main Street. You could connect them all through your Street View tour with photos taken. You could use the Matterport camera, use it 360 view, and do the sidewalk, right? You could do a few pictures down the sidewalk between the stores you have. That would be useful for somebody that wanted to go from store to store. Because they'd already be in one store, they could walk out the door and go down the sidewalk and go to the next store. So they're already on your site in Street View to see what you have to offer. And it's, you know, we've done whole towns that way, where we've added Street View along the sidewalks, and it's connected every business. And that stuff gets posted to the Chamber of Commerce, Main Street programs, etc., and that's how they use it. They're connecting their businesses. They're not even worried about what Street View, what we call blue line, where the Street View car is gone going down Main Street. I can't.
So, Chris, can you answer the question that John had? Why have I not got my Google Trusted badge? I had an email.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Why have I not gotten my Trusted badge?
When he got an email saying that he did.
I believe the link is in that email. Did he fill out the form that was linked to that email? That's one step you need to accomplish. So you're listed as a trusted photographer, which I'll use Washington. I mean, we're listed in a number of cities as trusted photographers. Up until Google opened up this program, there were 5 in Washington, D.C. I think there's like 20-something now. Most of them that have recently been added don't have complete listings. They don't have an email that works, or their website doesn't open up. It's a 404 area. So Google, when you and once you publish 50 photospheres, it can be all in the same place. So realistically, most Matterport scans are over 50. You do one place, you publish to Google Street View, you're going to then go into the Street View app on iOS or Android, and once you need to log in, you also need to make sure you're logged in with the email that you published to with your Google account in Matterport. And then there is a flip switch in the Street View app that says available for hire. You turn that on once it's live, and then Google will send you an email to put your information in and also tell you how to download whatever the current graphic is for Street View.
Perfect. Thank you. All right, we have another question from Ted. You do a lot more for Google. You do a lot more for Google Street View client than just uploading to Google Maps.
Like what?
So when we publish, as I mentioned, we use a third-party application go through. So if we don't own, we still shoot traditionally with 360 rigs. We also use the Insta360 Pro to shoot Street View, and we use our Matterport. So we use 3 different capture platforms currently, and our photo goes between DSLRs or mirrorless, depending on the quality we want. So what we do after we publish is we go into go through, and we load up what we published through Matterport to Street View. So then we have the business information, the full constellation with all of the extra arrows. And then the 2 things we do is we clean up the constellation, and then we also add a nadir for that business. A lot of people like to put their own nadir patches on that say, Joe's 360 VR 3D camera business. One of the values we add is that we use our client's logo and information, which is a little bit more advertising that they can show on their 360 views.
Perfect. Dustin Gardner has a question. What is the best advice you can give to someone new to the industry attempting to carve out their Google Street View niche?
Well, so anybody that's trying to get into this is competing against people with years of experience. And the first thing that you're going to get yelled at for is giving anything away for free. So if you try to join the Street View community and you're doing free work, you're going to be ostracized right away. There are people out there that make a living at this, so don't try to do it for free. You can practice on your own. But once you get out, into the real world, there are people making a living doing this, so don't give it away for free. I also understand that, there are people that have been doing this since the program came out. I think it's about 8 years old now. And, they have history with the program. They know the ins and outs of it. They have been taught by Google to do things that those teachings are no longer really available. So some people it's going to be hit and miss. What I gave about how to clean up using your tours brings your tour to a level that the old Google publishing system had, including the naders we could use, but they were much harder to do at one time. And in some places, people are not going to be interested. We work in major cities where people are interested in it. But you can go to places and find, they still have rotary phones. Technology is not the most important thing to them. So, find the right types of clients to deal with. And if people don't want to pay what you think you're worth, just keep moving on.
Good advice. Thank you.
Nice.
All right.
Thank
We
you.
have a question.
All right. We have a question.
Let's see. This question comes from
Let's see. This
Stephen.
question comes
Having
from
an
Stephen.
issue generating a
Having an
URL
issue
which shows
generating
the
a
Google Street
URL
View
which shows
within
the
Google
Google Street
Maps,
View
as not
within
everyone
Google
has
Maps,
Earth or
as not
Street View
everyone has
apps.
Earth or Street View apps.
Good question. So, and this is where screen sharing would be much easier to show something. The way you get a URL for Google Street View is to go into Google Maps, put in the business. So let's just say ABC Lumber. So you put in ABC Lumber in Anytown, USA, and on the left-hand side of Google Maps, if you're on the desktop, you get a knowledge card of the information about that business. When it's open, the phone number, the website, all links, right? Directions, you can send somebody directions. And then you get down a little further, it has the hours they're open. Then you'll see the photo buckets. On Google Maps, you have a photo bucket for 360s, a photo bucket for possibly Google Car Street View, and also a photo bucket for regular photos. If you click the photo bucket and open up the tour for the 360 Street View, then you would see it in the upper left-hand corner of the screen, a little information box that has the attribution and also three little dots. You would tap on those three little dots with your mouse, and it would open up another little menu that would ask you to, what do you want to do here? Do you want to report this pano, or do you want to share this? And when you click on share, it opens up another window, and that window will give you the ability to have the URL created in short code, and also the embed code you can use to embed the 360 tour on a web page.
Sweet.
Sweet.
Did you?
Just and to be clear here, I said at the beginning, you have to do this in maps.google.com. You can't do it on the mobile apps, and you can't do it if you are in Google search and you put in the business name and you get the knowledge card and you get to the tour that way, the virtual tour that way. Okay, that tour will not give you the shareable ability. Only Google Maps.
Good to know. Thank you. Some great information here. Hey, Aubrey. How are you? Thanks for joining. All right. Did you finish answering the original question that you were talking about? How to remove some of the chevrons?
Yeah, so we sort of covered that in two other questions about using, and I'll fall back also to answer a little bit more about that. So using a third-party app like GoThrough will allow you to remove the connections in the constellation, which then removes the chevrons. You can also try to do this in the Street View app. You can, but using unless you have very few nodes, it's gonna take you a very long time, and the Street View app on Android or iOS doesn't like fat fingers at all, so it's hard. Did that finish up?
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Jonathan.
Hey, Jonathan.
Thanks for joining.
Thanks for joining.
Do we have any other questions?
All right, do we have any other questions for Chris?
Nope. Well, I think that it's about 9:30. We can wrap things up. I wanted to thank everybody who joined us today for stopping by, saying hi. Thank you so much, Chris.
Thank you so much, Chris.
Oh, you're welcome.
Really appreciate it.
Yes, happy Thanksgiving to everybody.
Happy Thanksgiving to everybody.
Next week.
We'll see everybody next week. Same time, same place.
Ha ha ha.
All right, everybody. Thanks.
All right, everybody.
See you next week.
Bye. See you next week. Bye. Bye.